Hello, hello, hello. What is up? What is up? This is Alert Wolf here, going to bring you another review, and this time it's of the DC Nation, and it is um, Green Lantern, the animated series, and this one I believe is episode 20, Cold Fury. Now, let me just begin with this episode. And then I have a little stuff to address at the end. Well, actually, I'll do it I'll just get through it. So, okay. Last week's terrific episode, and you think, how can they follow something that good up? Well, they did it with this episode. This episode starts right where the last one ends. Right with, right with Razor getting in. They're trying to leave, and they're like, "What's going on?" And Razor's like, Hal's like, "Where's Aya?" And Razor's like, "She's gone." He asked him like 2 times, and finally he's like, "She's dead." And Kilowog, you mean she downloaded to another body? He's like, "There wasn't time. She's dead." And so unfortunately, unfortunately, she's dead. And so there's a lot of they almost came to blows, actually, because Hal was blaming him for the death, and it was pretty badass to see how bad how Razor turned. But all right, and then they're trying to flee, but without Aya they can't go to Super Warp, or whatever the hell they call it. So both the Guardian and the leader of the Red Lanterns go off to make their own phone calls, and basically the Red Lanterns were calling for backup, and you'll see what the Guardian's plan is in a second. So they really can't outrun them, and the Guardian comes up with a plan. She's like, "Just stop the car. You and me get out and let's go do this." And he's just like, "Oh, all right, Guardian." And so she goes outside, and this is epic, because I've been wondering why the Guardians were so freaking weak. Because I know the Guardians have from regular DC Nation, from regular DCU, we all know that the Guardians channel like pure Green Lantern energy themselves. They're like walking batteries. So because they can tie into the power directly. So the question is, why can't why haven't we seen this? And she answers the question that there's powers that they used to have a long time ago, and it took her about 1,000 years, but now she has it. And she commands the Manhunters to stop. They say no. She commands the Anti-Monitor to stop. He's like, "Ha!" And then she's like, basically saying, "I made you, I could destroy you," even though she didn't make them, but you know what I mean. So she comes at them full force, like, wow, with the green power. People were like crapping themselves and like, oh. And then she died. Anti-Monitor's like, "Yeah, you're the first to go, bitch." And he kills her. And it's like shocking moment that the Guardian died. Like, boom, there's blow 2. Aya dead. The Guardian dead. Then the Red Lantern's reinforcement arrived. Actually, Anti-Monitor was getting sadistic. He's like, "Hal, you're gonna watch as I kill your friends." And so he starts to kill their friend. His friend, like, the whole ship starts disintegrating a little bit. And then the Red Lantern command asteroid called Shard appears, and it starts attacking. And oh man, now it's an epic battle. Red Lanterns are in it. Then all of a sudden, he starts absorbing that too. And Hal's freed, and he's like, he gets him back on board. He's like, dude, order your people off that. It's going down. And Yamamoto's is like, yeah, man. Yamamoto, I don't know. I'm no good at names. The bald dude. So he causes all his troops to go. They bounce. They leave that place, and he just devours it. He's like, we got to go to the homeworld, because that's where he's heading next, the Red Lantern homeworld. So they position the fleet, and all of a sudden, they get a knock on the door, and it's Aya in like mashed up like Manhunter body, and she's like, I managed to download myself into some of these scraps, and Aya's not dead. Well, there you go. Aya's not dead. That's shocking. Well, like I said last week in one of my other reviews, there's dead, right? There's apparently dead. There's actually dead. There's really dead, and then there's dead. And she was close to dead. You know what I'm saying? She was like actually dead. Like, oh man, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, she's close to real dead, but apparently not. That's what I love about these shows. You really gotta watch out before you call a character dead. So then she comes back, and you know, they're like, all right, we got Aya back. I mean, we lost the Guardian, but we got Aya back. All right, and we'll take them where we can take them, right? Small victories. So they line up to do it. She asked for Razor's help recalibrating the engines. So they're gonna go repair the ship, because the ship took considerable damage, considering, you know, it was almost incinerated and absorbed. So then what happens is Aya and Razor talk. Now, Razor, this is where you put your foot in your mouth. So she's like, so we're gonna talk about how, you know, you told me you love me and whatnot. And he was like, yeah, about that. Yeah, I don't love you. And he took it back, and he explains that, oh no, it's because of, you know, you look like my dead girlfriend. I saw things that weren't there. I couldn't possibly love you. You're just a machine. You feel for her, you know, because she even got herself pretty for him, because she changed out of the scrap into the good body, and she's like, you know, I know physical looks are important in love, and he's like, not if you truly love someone. And she's like, well, how do you love me then? You know, and then he's like, well, I don't, bitch. So none of that was good. Oh man, you feel for Aya, because she's like computing. Like, she's stuck in a repetitive loop, because she's never felt that type of pain before, and all because he's not honest with his feelings. But whatever. So that's no good. And then she asks Hal, and you know, you get that big brother moment out of Hal, and she's like, Razor says he doesn't love me anymore, and he's like, what? Oh, let's step out the room for a second, close the door. Oh man, how am I gonna explain this to you? And he tries, he really does, but he doesn't have the time. They're about to go into battle. So he tries to explain. She's like, well, when is the hurt gonna go away? He's like, it may not. You know, you may have this hurt for the rest of your life, you know. But it's all a part of growing up, you know. But he really didn't have time to explain that well. And again, all things leading to what's coming. All right, now it's the epic throwdown. Red Lantern ships Aya's ship, and they're having a fight with the Manhunters and whatchamacallit. Now, the one thing I find funny is they're all fighting in ships. I mean, these are Green and Red Lanterns. Shouldn't you be fighting these Green and Red Lanterns? These Manhunters mano a mano? You know what I mean? Because using the ships to shoot at something the size of a human kind of hard to do, but whatever. So they fight it out, and they're losing. They are losing. It is an all-out battle. Aya goes to Razor in the middle, and he's like, what would you do, Razor, if your emotions were getting away from you doing your job? And he's like, when that happens to me, I just shut them down. the dumbest words you could say to a computer girl. And so she thinks about it, and she's like, you know, we're not going to win like this. I know what needs to be done. And then she shuts down her emotions and walks away. And Hal's like, where are you going, Aya? What does that mean? And he tries to talk to her. She starts absorbing the central battery, or not the central battery, but the battery for the ship. So she's like super green and glowy. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, well, you know, I formulated this plan. I'm gonna win. You know, I had it, and I was able to do it by shutting down non-essential systems. And he's like, what do you consider, you know, define non-essential? And she's like, my emotions. And he's like, oh, stupid. So then she bounces out the door. He tries to follow her. She zaps him back, and she just goes apeshit. She takes out a Red Lantern ship, uses it as a shield, rams it at the anti-monitor. Then she herself rams the anti-monitor, blows out his head, kills the anti-monitor. She killed the anti-monitor. And then she's standing in his like chest and controlling the anti-monitor, and gets fused with the antimatter energy instead of the green energy. And she's like glowy and on fire, and the white part of her turns black. And it's at this point that you're like, uh-oh, color scheme change. This can't be good. All the Manhunters shut down. They feel like they won. They try to get Aya to come back in the ship, and she's like, no. She's like, you don't care about, you can't order, like, Razor's like, come inside. And she's like, what am I, a machine? You can't order me. You don't care about me. You told me you don't love me. And I'm like, uh-oh, done somebody flip the crazy bitch mode. And so what happens is basically she snaps, and without emotions. The emotions as weak as the enemy, considering all they do is hurt people like they hurt her. And you know, she's like, you can't. And then Kilowog's like, we're not mad at you. We love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just saved the day. Now we just destroy these Manhunters and we're good to go. And she's like, you can't blame these children. And see, that's another bad word for this. They were ordered to do this. This is their programming. This is not their fault. You know, so then she's like, and I will become their queen. And and emotions are the enemy. And this is bad. So they try to talk her down, but she zaps them away. And that's the end of the episode. Razor, you idiot. Look what you did. You done turned her into a supervillain with the powers of the anti-monitor. Enough said. Now, absolutely loved this episode. One of the best episodes. So they followed up last week's ridiculously good episode with this one, which is also ridiculously good. These are the best episodes I've ever seen out of the show, and they're back to back. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5. It is a shame that Cartoon Network is canceling this show at the end of the season along with Young Justice. Considering, you may say this is the more cartoony of the two shows, which is true, but it's getting more serious and the action is good, the writing is good. So, you know, this type of stuff kind of really irks me. So, whatever. Now, you know, I think I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in length in my Young Justice review about the cancellations and the stupidity behind Cartoon Network, because I think they're shining away from action style shows, but that's just me. So yeah, click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please subscribe if you can. And this is Alert Wolf signing out.